My name is Ethan Carter, and for 8 years, I believed I had the kind of life men prayed for. I had a wife named Melissa, a little boy named Noah, and a small house at the edge of a quiet neighborhood in Ohio where every lawn looked freshly cut and every front porch had a flag or a hanging basket. It was not a perfect life, but it was mine. I worked long hours as a project manager for a construction company. Melissa worked part-time at a dental office. Noah was 6 years old, obsessed with dinosaurs, pancakes, and asking questions no adult could answer without checking Google. And then there was my older brother, Ryan. Ryan had always been the charming one. He was the kind of man who could walk into a room 10 minutes late and somehow make everyone feel lucky he had arrived at all. He had the smile, the confidence, the stories, the easy laugh. Growing up, I was the responsible son, the one who made good grades, got a job early, paid my own bills, and kept my problems quiet. Ryan was the golden boy who wrecked cars, borrowed money, disappeared for weeks, and still somehow got welcomed home like a returning soldier. My parents called him complicated. I called him what he was: selfish. But even I never thought he would take my wife. And I never imagined he would turn my own son against me. The first sign came on a Friday night. I got home late from work, carrying a stuffed stegosaurus I had bought for Noah at a gas station outside Columbus. It was cheap, bright green, and ugly. But I knew he would love it. I walked through the front door, expecting to hear his feet running across the hallway. Instead, the house was quiet. Melissa was in the kitchen, standing over the sink with her phone in her hand. When she saw me, she locked the screen too quickly. "Where is Noah?" I asked. "At your parents' house," she said. I frowned. "Why?" She shrugged without looking at me. "Ryan picked him up." My hand tightened around the toy. "Ryan picked him up? He said your mom wanted to see him. And nobody thought to tell me?" Melissa turned around slowly, already irritated. "Ethan, do not start. It is just your brother." That sentence stayed with me. It is just your brother. As if blood made betrayal impossible. I called my mother. She answered on the fourth ring, cheerful and breathless, like she had been expecting my anger, and had already decided it was unreasonable. "Oh, honey, Noah is fine," she said. "Ryan brought him over. They are watching a movie." "Mom, Ryan does not get to pick up my son without asking me." There was a pause. Then she sighed. "You really need to stop acting like Ryan is dangerous." I looked across the kitchen at Melissa, who was suddenly very interested in wiping down an already clean counter. "I did not say dangerous," I said. "I said he is not Noah's parent." My mother's voice cooled. "Well, maybe if you were home more often, people would not have to help." That hit harder than it should have. Because it sounded rehearsed. Over the next month, everything changed quietly. Noah started mentioning Ryan more. "Uncle Ryan took me to the arcade. Uncle Ryan said you work too much. Uncle Ryan said Mom laughs more when you are not around." The first few times, I forced myself to stay calm. Kids repeat things without understanding them. Adults say stupid things. Families overstep. But then Noah stopped running to me when I came home. He stopped asking me to read bedtime stories. One night, when I told him it was time to brush his teeth, he crossed his little arms and said, "Uncle Ryan says you are not the boss of everybody." I stood there in the hallway, staring at my 6-year-old son, and felt something cold move through my chest. "Who told you that?" I asked softly. He looked down. "Uncle Ryan." Melissa appeared behind him and said, "He is just a kid. Ethan, do not interrogate him." I looked at her. Something in her face was different. Not guilt exactly. Confidence. Like she knew I was losing ground, and she liked it. 2 weeks later, I found the truth. Not because Melissa confessed, not because Ryan slipped. Because of a dinosaur backpack. Noah had left it in Ryan's truck after a weekend at my parents' house. Melissa said she would get it, but I was already driving near Ryan's apartment after a job site meeting, so I stopped by. His truck was parked outside. Melissa's car was next to it. For a moment, I just sat there, hands on the wheel, telling myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe she was dropping something off. Maybe my parents were there. Maybe Noah was inside. Then, I saw her through the window. She walked across Ryan's living room wearing one of his shirts, bare legs, wet hair, laughing. Ryan came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist, and kissed the side of her neck. I did not move. I did not scream. I did not burst through the door, like men do in movies. I just sat there while the life I had built burned down in silence. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Melissa. "Still at work. Do not wait up." I stared at those words until they blurred. Still at work. Do not wait up. I drove home without the backpack. That night, I sat in the dark living room until nearly 3 in the morning. Melissa came home smelling like Ryan's cologne and peppermint gum. She froze when she saw me. "Ethan," she said. "You scared me." I looked at her and asked one question. "How long?" Her face changed. Just for a second. Then she recovered. "What are you talking about? Do not lie to me." She folded her arms. You are being paranoid. I took out my phone and showed her the photos I had taken from the truck. Her mouth opened. No sound came out. Then, incredibly, she got angry. You followed me? I almost laughed. That was the moment I understood. She was not sorry she had betrayed me. She was sorry I had caught her. How long? I asked again. She looked away. 8 months. 8 months. For 8 months, my wife had been sleeping with my brother. For 8 months, my son had been spending weekends around the man destroying our family. For 8 months, my parents had smiled at Sunday dinners, while Ryan sat across from me, asking me to pass the salt like he had not been in my bed, in my marriage, in my life. Do mom and dad know? I asked. Melissa said nothing. That silence answered everything. The next morning, I drove to my parents' house. Ryan was there. So was Melissa. And Noah was sitting on the carpet between them, building a Lego tower. My mother stood in the kitchen doorway with red eyes, not because she was ashamed, but because she knew the confrontation had finally arrived. My father sat in his recliner, jaw tight, remote in his hand like he could change the channel on what was about to happen. I looked at Ryan. He had the nerve to stand. Ethan, we can talk about this. I said. No. You can listen. Melissa reached for Noah, but I stopped her. Take him upstairs, I told my mother. Noah looked scared. That broke me more than anything. Because none of this was his fault. My mother took him upstairs, and the second his bedroom door closed, I turned back to my family. How long have you all known? Nobody spoke. So I looked at my father. You knew? He rubbed his face. Son, it is complicated. No, I said. It is not. Ryan stepped forward. Melissa and I did not plan this. I stared at him. You stole my wife, he swallowed. She was unhappy. There it was. The excuse. The coward's favorite shield. She was unhappy. As if unhappiness forced two adults to lie, cheat, manipulate a child, and turn an entire family into accomplices. Melissa's eyes filled with tears. You were never home, she said. You cared more about work than us. I worked to pay for this family. You were emotionally absent. I looked at Ryan. Did you teach her that phrase? His face hardened. My mother came back downstairs and said the words that ended my relationship with her forever. Ethan, you need to think about Noah. He loves Ryan. Maybe more than you realize. The room went silent. I felt my heart stop. What did you just say? My mother lifted her chin, like she was being brave. Ryan has been there. You have not. I looked at my father. He would not meet my eyes. Ryan did. And I saw it. Victory. He wanted my wife. He wanted my place. He wanted my son to see him as the better man. And my family had helped him. I did not yell. I did not threaten him. I simply said, you can all have each other. Melissa frowned. What does that mean? It means I am done. Ryan scoffed. You are not walking away from your son. I looked at him. No. I am walking away from all of you. And I am going to fight for Noah the right way. Then I left. That week, I hired the best family lawyer I could afford. I gave him everything. Photos. Texts. Bank statements. School pickup records. Screenshots of Melissa lying about where she was. Screenshots of Ryan texting Noah through Melissa's phone, calling me boring, angry, unreliable. My lawyer's name was Dennis Marshall. He was calm, sharp, and brutally honest. This is going to get ugly, he told me. It already is. He nodded. Then we make it clean. Melissa filed first. She asked for primary custody, child support, the house, and claimed I had been emotionally unstable since discovering the affair. Ryan submitted a statement saying he was concerned about my temper around Noah. My parents backed him up. My own mother wrote that Ryan had become a positive male influence in my son's life. I read that line in my lawyer's office. A positive male influence. The man who slept with my wife, the man who poisoned my son against me, the man my parents still protected. For a while, it worked. The court gave temporary custody to Melissa. I got weekends and Wednesday evenings, but by then, Noah had changed. He was quiet with me, guarded. Sometimes he called Ryan dad by accident, then looked terrified, like he had done something wrong. I never punished him for it. I never corrected him harshly. I just knelt in front of him and said, I am always your dad, buddy. No matter what anyone says. Sometimes he hugged me. Sometimes he did not. Those were the hardest days of my life. Harder than losing Melissa. Harder than losing my family. Because I was watching my child disappear behind other people's lies. Then Ryan made one mistake. He got comfortable. A few months into the custody battle, Melissa and Ryan moved in together. They tried to present themselves as a stable home. My parents helped with furniture. My mother posted pictures online of family healing. She cropped me out of every memory like I had died. But Ryan had never been stable. He had debt. Old gambling problems. Unpaid loans. A history of angry voicemails to ex-girlfriends. And then my lawyer found the police report. 3 years before, Ryan had been arrested after a bar fight outside a casino. The charges were reduced, but the report described him threatening a man over money. It was enough to raise questions. Then came the recording. Noah accidentally left his tablet recording after a video message he was making for me. In the background, Ryan was yelling at Melissa. Not normal arguing. Yelling. "You think Ethan's going to take him back? You think your sad little tears will fix this?" Melissa cried. "Stop. Noah can hear you." Ryan snapped. "Good. Maybe he should learn what kind of weak man his father is." When my lawyer played that audio in court, Melissa went pale. Ryan stared at the table. My parents looked like strangers. For the first time, someone outside the family saw what I had been trying to say. The judge changed the custody order. I got 50-50 custody. Ryan was ordered not to speak negatively about me around Noah. Melissa was warned that continued parental alienation could affect custody. It should have felt like a victory, but it did not. Because by then, I was exhausted. The house was sold. The marriage was over. My family was gone. I rented a small apartment across town and spent every other week rebuilding trust with my son, one bedtime story at a time. On the weeks Noah was with me, we made pancakes for dinner. We built dinosaur worlds out of cardboard boxes. We watched old adventure movies. I never asked him to choose sides. I never insulted his mother. I never mentioned Ryan unless Noah did first. Slowly, my son came back. One night, he crawled beside me on the couch and whispered, "Dad? Yeah, buddy? Did Uncle Ryan steal Mom?" I closed my eyes. There is no parenting manual for that question. "Noah," I said carefully, "grown-ups make choices. Your mom made choices. Ryan made choices. But nobody stole anybody like a toy." He was quiet. Then he said, "You left because you did not love us." My throat tightened. I turned toward him. "I left the fighting. I left the lying. I never left you." His eyes filled with tears. "I missed you." I pulled him into my arms. "I missed you every second." That was the night I decided I could not stay near them anymore. Not because I wanted to abandon my son. Because I needed to build a life strong enough that no one could erase me again. I asked my company for a transfer to Colorado, where they had a regional office. My lawyer helped me adjust the custody arrangement. It was not perfect. It was painful. But Noah would spend summers, holidays, and long breaks with me. We would video call every night. Melissa fought it at first. Not because she wanted me close, because she wanted control. Ryan mocked me. "Running away?" he said outside the courthouse. I looked at him for the last time as my brother. "No," I said. "Surviving." Then I disappeared from their everyday lives. I changed my number. I blocked my parents. I blocked Ryan. I only communicated with Melissa through a parenting app. For years, I lived quietly. I worked. I saved. I healed. Colorado changed me. The mountains gave me space to breathe. The cold mornings taught me discipline. The distance taught me who I was, without the noise of people who had mistaken my kindness for weakness. I started my own construction consulting firm after 2 years. By the 4th year, I had 6 employees. By the 6th, I had contracts in 3 states. By the 7th, I bought a house with a deck facing the mountains. And Noah had his own room there, painted blue, with shelves full of dinosaur books he pretended he was too old for. He was 13 by then. Tall, smart, quiet, and beginning to understand. One summer evening, he stood beside me on the deck while the sky turned orange behind the peaks. "Dad," he said. "I know more now." I did not ask what he meant. He looked down at his hands. "Mom told me some things. Grandma told me other things. But I found old messages." I stayed still. His voice shook. "They lied to me." I turned toward him. "Noah." He wiped his face quickly, embarrassed. "They made me think you did not want me." That sentence almost took me to my knees. I reached for him. But he was older now. He did not collapse into me like he used to. He just stood there, trying to be strong. So I said the only thing that mattered. "I wanted you every day." He nodded. "I know." That was enough. For a while, I thought that would be the end of it. Then, 9 years after I left Ohio, Ryan called. I did not answer. He called again. Then my mother. Then my father. Then an email came from an address I did not recognize. Subject line: "Please help your brother." I almost deleted it. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. The email was from Melissa. "Ethan, I know I have no right to contact you this way. Ryan is in serious trouble. He borrowed money from people he should not have borrowed from. He lost his job. Your parents used their retirement savings trying to help him. The house is gone. He is being sued. He may go to jail. He says you know people who could help with legal and financial advice. Please. Whatever happened between us, he is still your brother." I read that last line twice. He is still your brother. The same sentence, dressed in new clothes. I closed the laptop. For 3 days, I said nothing. Then Noah called me. He was 15 now, living mostly with Melissa, but visiting me whenever school allowed. His voice was tense. "Dad, did they contact you?" "Yes." Do not do it. I sat down slowly. What happened? He exhaled. Uncle Ryan messed up bad. Grandma and Grandpa gave him everything. Mom too. He lied to all of them. He took money from Grandpa's account. He used Mom's credit cards. He told people he owned part of your company. I felt something old and cold stir in my chest. My company? Yeah. I almost laughed. After everything, Ryan was still trying to stand in my shadow and call it sunlight. Are you okay? I asked. Noah was quiet. I am angry, he said. I am angry at them. I am angry at Mom. I am angry I believed them when I was little. You were a child. I still hurt you. No, I said firmly. They used you. That is not the same thing. He sniffed. I do not want to be like them. You will not be. How do you know? Because you are worried about it. A week later, Ryan showed up at my office in Denver. He looked nothing like the golden boy I remembered. His hair was thinner. His face was swollen from bad sleep and worse decisions. His jacket was wrinkled. His confidence was cracked. My assistant buzzed me. There is a Ryan Carter here. He says he is your brother. I stared through the glass wall of my office. There he was. The man who had stolen my wife. The man who had tried to steal my son. The man who had taken my parents' loyalty, money, and dignity, and spent all three. I could have refused to see him. Maybe I should have. But I wanted to look him in the eye one last time. Send him in, I said. Ryan walked in slowly. For once, he did not smile. Ethan. I said nothing. He looked around my office, at the framed project photos, the awards, the view of downtown Denver behind me. You did good, he said. I leaned back. What do you want? His jaw tightened. I need help. There it was. Not an apology. Not remorse. Need. I am being sued, he said. There are allegations. Fraud. Misrepresentation. A bunch of exaggerated nonsense. Did you tell people you were connected to my company? He looked away. I may have mentioned family ties. You used my name. I was desperate. You were always desperate. You just used to call it ambition. His face flushed. I came here to make peace. No, I said. You came here because everyone else is empty. He swallowed. Then, finally, he said it. I am sorry. I waited. He continued, voice low. I am sorry for Melissa, for Noah, for everything. I studied him. For years, I had imagined this moment. I thought I would feel satisfaction. Triumph. Maybe even rage. Instead, I felt tired. Because some apologies arrived too late to heal anything. You did not just sleep with my wife, I said. You helped turn my son against me. Ryan's eyes dropped. That was Melissa. No, that was all of you. He had no answer. I stood and walked to the window. My parents gave you everything, I said. Their money, their trust, their excuses, their protection. And you burned them anyway. His voice cracked. They are going to lose the house. I thought the house was already gone. He flinched. It is complicated. I turned around. No, Ryan, it is not. For the first time, he looked afraid. Ethan, please. I know I do not deserve it. But if you could just write a statement. Say I was confused. Say I had permission to mention the company. Anything. It would help. I stared at him. You want me to lie for you? He whispered. I want you to save me. And there it was. The full circle. Years earlier, he had stood in my parents' living room and watched my life collapse. Now he was standing in my office, asking me to hold up his. I walked back to my desk, opened a drawer, took out a folder. Ryan's eyes followed it. Inside were copies of messages my lawyer had gathered after Melissa contacted me. Screenshots of Ryan using my business name, emails where he implied partnership, notes from people he had deceived. I am not saving you, I said. His face went pale. What is that? Documentation. Ethan. I already sent it to my attorney. He stepped back like I had hit him. You would destroy me? I looked at my brother, and for the first time in my life, I saw him clearly. Not as my rival, not as my parents' favorite, not as the man who took my wife. Just a small man who had survived too long on other people's forgiveness. No, I said. You destroyed yourself. I am just done hiding the wreckage. He left without another word. 3 months later, Ryan lost the lawsuit. Then came criminal charges. My parents called from unknown numbers. My mother left voicemails, sobbing that family should help family. My father sent one message. We made mistakes. Please do not let your brother go down alone. I replied once. He did not go down alone. You carried him there. Then I blocked the number. Melissa sent a long apology. It was the first real one she had ever written. She admitted the affair. The lies. The way she had allowed Ryan and my parents to poison Noah's mind. She said she had been selfish, weak, and afraid of being alone. She said watching Ryan destroy everyone who protected him made her realize what she had helped do to me. I did not forgive her that day. But I did something harder. I stopped hating her. Not for her sake. For mine. Noah moved in with me full-time the following year. He was 16. He said he needed distance from all of them. I did not celebrate. I did not say, "I told you so." I just opened the door. His room was still blue. His old dinosaur books were still on the shelf. He stood in the doorway for a long time, then smiled a little. "You kept them?" "Of course," I said. He picked up the ugly green Stegosaurus I had bought the night everything started, the one I had never given him. I had kept it for 10 years. He held it in both hands. "I remember this," he said. "You never had it." He looked at me. "No," he said softly. "But I remember wanting you to come home with something for me. That broke something open in both of us." I hugged my son. This time, he hugged me back like a little boy again. Ryan went to prison for 18 months. My parents sold what little they had left, and moved into a small rental 2 towns over. Their golden son had cost them almost everything. Their younger son was gone. Their grandson barely spoke to them. Melissa rebuilt slowly. She got therapy. She worked full-time. She never asked me for money. Years later, we learned to sit in the same room at Noah's graduation, without bitterness poisoning the air. As for Ryan, he wrote me one letter from prison. I never opened it. Some people call that cruel. Maybe it is. But I learned something after losing my wife, my family, and nearly my son. Forgiveness does not always mean reopening the door. Sometimes forgiveness means locking it without anger. Sometimes peace means accepting that the people who broke you do not get front row seats to the man you became. The day Noah graduated high school, he walked across the field in a blue cap and gown. I stood in the crowd with tears in my eyes, clapping so hard my hands hurt. Afterward, he found me near the parking lot. He hugged me and said, "Thank you for not giving up on me." I pulled back and looked at him. I never did. He nodded toward Melissa, standing a few yards away, then toward my parents, farther back, older and smaller than I remembered. Ryan was not there. Noah looked at me and said, "I know the truth now." I put a hand on his shoulder. "That is enough." And it was. I had lost years. I had lost trust. I had lost the family I was born into. But standing there beside my son, watching the sun go down behind the football field, I realized something. Ryan had stolen my wife. He had turned my son against me. He had taken my parents with him, but he had not taken my future. He had not taken my name. He had not taken the part of me that knew how to stand back up. So yes, I disappeared. I disappeared from their lies. I disappeared from their manipulation. I disappeared from the version of myself that kept begging people to love me fairly. And when my brother lost everything and came begging for my help, I finally understood the difference between revenge and justice. Revenge would have been destroying him. Justice was letting him meet the consequences he had spent his whole life outrunning. And peace? Peace was driving home with my son beside me, both of us quiet, both of us free, knowing that some doors only become beautiful after you close them forever.